Hi everyone, welcome you all for uh, the second event of Sitecore User Group Kuala Lumpur, which is about Sitecore XM Cloud Content SDK, which is going to lead by Nikita Vashist. She is working as a technical lead in Merkle, and the other co-speaker as well, he is Shreyansh Nahata, and he is also working as a technical lead in the same company, and they are going to actually providing more insight about the Sitecore XM Cloud Content SDK. So I'm happy to welcome you guys. This is the new group, and so we are actually growing day by day, and yeah, so I'm happy to host this session as well. Yeah, I'm happy as an organizer to moving forward, and I'm also happy to learn and share. And so I hope, okay, the learning and sharing will improve our knowledge, and also improve our overall decorum. Yeah, so I hope, okay, everyone trust on this process. Yeah, let's start, Nikita and Shreyansh. Okay, this is your ground. You have to go and play with it. Yeah, so it's your stage. So hand over to you, Nikita and Shreyansh. Okay, you can start.
Thank you, Sirajuddin. I'm sharing my screen.
Yep.
So let me know if my screen is visible to all.
It is visible. Yeah.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Our topic of presentation is Sitecore XM Cloud Content SDK. So a brief about myself. My name is Nikita Vashisht. I'm working as a technical lead in Merkle. I'm certified in Sitecore version 9, 10, XM Cloud and CDP. Apart from that, I keep on contributing to the community through various channels.
Hi everyone, I'm Shreyansh. I am currently working as a technical lead at Merkle. I am Sitecore 10 and XM Cloud certified. Thank you.
So today's presentation will revolve mainly about what is Content SDK, its features, architecture, how to get started, how we can connect our Content SDK app with XM Cloud, how to create a basic component, what are the differences between Content SDK versus JSS SDK, and a demo. So let's understand what is Sitecore Content SDK. So it's a new and open source development kit that helps developers to integrate the XM Cloud content with our front end application. So how we can do it? It comes with specialized APIs and services that fetches the data from XM Cloud via GraphQL that is present in our Experience Edge, which is then delivered to our client browser. It works on modern JavaScript frameworks like Next.js and Angular. It's very easy to get started with the development of Content SDK. It comes with a starter kit template that can be easily integrated and the application can be created. Now, what are the features? First is it reduces the complexity. With Content SDK, the application is almost 49% smaller than JSS SDK. So it's easier to maintain. Now, with Content SDK, it comes with almost 81% of lesser files and 39% of less codes, which makes the application easier to understand. Then, for visual editing, we use XM Cloud Page Builder. Sitecore Experience Editor is no longer in use with Content SDK. And we can do rapid development with Content SDK since it comes with a starter kit repository. It's easier to start a new application. Now, as you can see, the architecture image is there on our screen. So in the center, there is our Content SDK application, which fetches all the data that is present in our Experience Edge via GraphQL. So all our layouts, dictionary items, site and item data, all of it gets fetched from Experience Edge directly to our client browser. Our Content SDK application run on different rendering strategies. We have static rendering, runtime rendering, that is server-side rendering, and a client-side rendering. The images are directly fetched from Experience Edge and get rendered to our client browser. Now, what are the differences between JSS SDK and Content SDK? With JSS SDK, it works with XM, XP, and XM Cloud, whereas Content SDK is only compatible with XM Cloud. With JSS SDK, the components are auto-mapped, whereas with Content SDK, if we are building any component, we have to register it manually in our component map.ts file. All the environment variables that we have in our JSS SDK, the names are simple Sitecore API key, Sitecore API host, whereas in our Content SDK, we prefix it with next underscore public underscore. JSS SDK supports Experience Editor, whereas Content SDK supports Page Builder. Now, how to get started, how you can build your Content SDK application, we can create the component. We will show all the steps using the demo. So Shreyansh will help us go through all of it. Shreyansh, can you please share your screen?
Thank you, Nikita. Let me know once my screen is visible. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So now let us get started with the JSS SDK. How do you set up your basic JSS, the Content SDK, and how do you go ahead with creating components and what are the differences? I'll show all of that. So before we proceed, let me tell you that the prerequisites of starting with JSS SDK, uh, the Content JSS SDK, you need to have the XM Cloud portal access as well as the Node.js setup on your system. So these are the prerequisites without which you will not be able to proceed. Okay, so let us start. So let me create a new folder. Content. So this is the folder where we'll download our starter kit and where we'll proceed. So once you're there in the folder, you need to run this command npx sitecore content sdk create sitecore js next.js. So what it will do is it will download the starter kit in the respective folder, and let me go ahead with it. And once you run this command, you will be asked to select the subfolder and the type of pre-render that you want to select. It can either be ssg or ssr. So difference between both of them is static site generation and runtime. uh, in ssg, your output html gets generated during the build time, and whereas in case you have more dynamic websites, the interactions across the websites are runtime generated in the ssr. As of now, I'll go with ssg, and once you've selected the ssg, it will start downloading all the packages and all the folders in your local folder, whichever you've given. You can see, right, there is a folder created next.js, and it will download all the code here. So meanwhile it downloads, let us go to the cloud portal. So this is the XM Cloud portal. We have multiple apps created over, we have multiple environments and projects created over here. I'll go to the XM Cloud Demo Dev portal. So inside the XM Cloud, you can see there are multiple collections. XMC, Next Connect, JSS app, then XM New collection. These are collections, and inside collections, there are multiple websites that we have created. You can see 3 sites, you can see 4 sites. So inside one collection, we can have multiple sites, and these are the sites that we have created. For the demo, we will be going ahead with the SUG demo site. So, and we have 2 environments created, dev and UAT. So once I go to manage environments and I go to my dev environment, so in the developer settings tab, you can see there is a content SDK tab that is created as well. In the initial release of XM Cloud, this content SDK tab was not there. Only the JSS and JSS 21.5 earlier was there. So with the introduction of the beta version of content SDK, they have created this tab. And these are all the environment values that are there for your particular site. Now let's say I switch my site. I am going to the SUG demo site. The site name is going to change, whereas all these context ID and the edge context ID and the secret editing secret, they will remain the same. So these will change for different environments. So for live site, you can see the keys are different. For preview site, the keys are different. For this site, the site name is different. If I go to UAT environment, the preview keys will be different. The live site keys will be different. So these are the values that are going to be updated either in your env folder, or if you have your the headless application deployed in Vercel, you can update the environment values in your Vercel portal as well. So now, okay, now this is downloaded. So now the next step is you need to install your Sitecore Content SDK CLI. So earlier with JSS, we used to install Sitecore CLI. Now with Content SDK, the CLI also is different. You need to go ahead and install the Sitecore Content SDK CLI. So which I will install. So this is the command npm install g content and enter the name. So once I run this command, it will install the Content SDK CLI as well. So okay. Now Now let me open this project in Visual Studio Code. So this is the project that we downloaded just now. Now I was talking about the values, right, that we just discussed on the XM Cloud portal, the Content SDK values that was there. So now if you see this file env.remote.example, you can see all these parameter names are there. You need to update all the values over here, right? Also, if you have been working with the JSS sites, you would have seen this next underscore public, this prefix would not have been there. Let me show that as well. If you see here, the env values, the variable values, it does not have the next underscore public prefix, whereas for content SDK, we have it for the site name and the edge context ID, right? So this is not there. So also you can see there are two env examples that are given in the starter kit. One is the env.remote.example. This would be set up for your websites that does not have, if you are not dependent on Docker. In case you are using Docker, you need to go ahead with the env values. This env values you can use. Now what is the difference between both this file? If you see here, personalized middleware, edge timeout, all these extra variables, all these variables are there only for your env.remote.example, whereas these are not there for your container example that Sitecore has provided out of the box. So for now, one more thing that we discussed, the values for, let's say, preview environment is different. For live environment, it might be different. Now for UAT, it might be different. For UAT preview environment, it might be different. For prod, it might be different. So what we usually do, we create multiple env files if you are setting up the environment values in your code. Let's say .env, .prod, .env, .uat, .env, .local, .env, .dev environment. Or what you can do, you can set up these values in your Vercel where you're doing your project setup. You can have your environment variables updated over there as well. So for this development, let me rename this to env.local and let's proceed with that. And with respect to the env values, I have already copied it in one of the project. I will be using those env values. So I'll be copying them. Yeah, one more thing, view terminal. Now let's say if I want to run any of the existing out of the box command that Sitecore is providing and I have not updated the env values. Now if I am running the command npm run start, okay, so you can see, right, there is a error that is coming up. Error configuration, the context id or api key is missing in sitecore.config. So with the build in itself will fail if the env values are not updated. Now let me update it before I proceed. Okay, so now if I try to run, so now what I have done is I have updated the env values with the sug demo website. Now if you, I go to my content editor, XM Cloud Dev, open app. Let me go to the content editor. Meanwhile, I'll run the build. Npm run start. You can run your, okay. So you could see, right, we had multiple collections and inside multiple collections, we have multiple sites. So now this SUG demo site that we have, the home node, the content and all, once this project is running, this will fetch all the content from this specific site because the site name that I have provided is SUG demo. So what is happening is I have connected for my local development, I have connected the site SUG demo with my local instance using the values that I have updated in env.local. And you can see, right, all these process that runs during the build time when you are running the build. Just a second. Okay, and let me show it to you later. Now if I go to, you can see, right, this is the site that is running up and now. So now we are getting this error because in the home node, if you see this site, I have already added a component. I mean, I had created it in Sitecore with the name my component. So since that, since in the starter kit this particular component is not there, you can consider this as a custom component that we have created and not coming out of the box. Since that component is not present, we are getting this error that my component implementation is missing. So here also there is one thing which I wanted to, this is the thing, you can context ID and the client context ID and the edge URL This is your Edge Experience Edge API URL. All of this, it has been updated and it gets logged here. So this is the API, the Experience Edge API. These are the IDs, user secrets, and the IDs that are getting passed. And using the GraphQL queries, we are able to fetch the data from site. And now let's say you update the env with the UAT one, your content will come from the UAT environment. If you update it from the preview one, the content will come from the preview environment. Now before I proceed creating a component, if you see here, right, there is a my component error. Okay, let us first create a component. So this is the scaffolding command that will create our component. So this you can say is as a by code first approach. If I run my scaffolding command, and although if I run this command, if you see now inside the component folder, there is a component created with the name my component.tsx, right? So this component is now created in your env folder. Now once your component is created, in our typical JSS project, if you know that there is a file called component builder where the components are getting mapped. But if you look here inside the library folder, there is a file called component map.ts. So here you need to manually come and map your components for Sitecore to understand which component my components refer to. So here I will import my component, and here you need to do the mapping. So it is auto suggesting, see, my component. So once you have mapped your component and you've created the component, you can see it over here. Let me go to the component file also. Okay. Yeah. So there is a bug in the starter repository. Whenever you create a new component, the JSX is not imported in the package. So once you include that, this error will also go. Okay. And let's say you want to create any fields. I'll open one example. You can create your fields here and they'll import those fields over here. So this is one generic example that I'm showing you that comes out of the box. You can, let's say you have a text field with a string type. You can create your interface with it and then refer your field interface, which will map to this. So in our JS,
So we have to configure all our Sitecore renderings in our component section.
uh,
Is that
component
my understanding?
map.ts file, right? Is this what you're referring to?
Yes. So whatever renderings we have in the Sitecore, we have to configure here, right?
Yeah, we need to configure over here.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to configure over here. If you do not configure over here, then again you will be getting the orange screen with this error that the JSS component implementation is missing.
Okay. So by default, the image, link list, the other components, the navigation, page content, so it's coming by default, right?
Yeah, that is coming by default. Since this is the starter project that Sitecore has created, so they have they have mapped all these components. But since this was a custom component that we have created, we need to do the mapping by ourselves. And in case, let's say you create another component by the name ABC, then again you need to come here and map it as well.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Now this is my component, and now let's say if I run this project, npm run start, Okay, we are getting some error. Okay, this is the prettier error. Okay, the one more thing. Right now, if you see, right, there is a prettier error that is coming in line number first. So the linting is already there by default. You can either run this command. So what it will do is it will find all the lint errors and fix it, npx lint, or you can go and fix the error by yourself. So I'll run this command, or let me just put a space here and now run the build command. Sorry, let me start the project once again. Okay, now let us go to this. Okay, now if you see, right, the error for my component implementation that was coming here earlier is not coming, and this data might be hard coded in the component, I think. Yeah, this data is hard coded in the component. So this is just a basic example of how you can create a component. You can refer the components out of the box. Let's say in case you have multi-list field, image field, or rich text field, you can refer any of the components here. All the implementations are done, and you will be able to fetch all your content from your site code. Now, this is with respect to the components that are there. Now, how does, now let's say I am visiting the URL, let's say xyz.com/abcd. How does the request gets handled? How is the routing happening? What are the set of actions that gets triggered when a specific URL is hit? Let me also show that steps to you. I mean, let me show that in the code. Now, whenever the request get hits, the first URL that gets, the first file that gets hit is path.tsx. So this is the path that gets hit, and here it identifies the uh, so this method gets static props. It identifies the route that it needs to form, and based on the route and based on all the data that it is getting from the experience edge, once the request is hit on site code, we call the respective layout that needs to be referred. Also, there is a file called middleware.ts. This file was also there in your JSS project as well. Here, let's say you have any okay, one more thing before I discuss this multi-site setup. Whenever I give the edge URL context, any of the context ID, right, it will list down all the sites that are there in the sites.json. It will list SUG demo first, second, then Next.js app, SS, all the sites that I have created, it will list it down over here. And let's say in case you want to configure a host name for a specific site, you can do that. www.abcd.com, and whichever language you want to create the site for. And based on this middleware.ts, here are series of steps that gets executed. Out of the box Sitecore is importing these packages which are there in Content SDK Next.js package, multi-site, personalize, and in case you want to do any redirects. So these are out of this package that you see, right? Content SDK. So in this package, all the out of the box Sitecore, whatever feature Sitecore has created, it's there in this package. We done the first command, right? The Sitecore Content SDK, and from there are multiple functions that are getting imported: multi-site, personalized, redirect. All these, they take care of your request. And in case you want to create any custom middleware, that option is also there. You can create your custom middleware and refer in this file. That also will get executed. So things to notice: first, the request comes to the part.tsx. That, and apart from that, if we go to the cloud portal, hmm, details. Here is the experience. Here is the playground. Uh, in case you want to write any custom queries, you can try writing your custom queries here, and it will fetch all the data from your XM using the experience edge and showcase the data. I mean, and give all the data over here. Yeah, that's it from the demo.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh, could you please show the last step which you shown, right, that playground for the GraphQL query?
yeah,
So I missed to, okay, where it generated, how it go
sure.
to the cloud. I hope,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I directly went to that link, so I'll show you. So you can see, right, there are multiple projects that we already have,
yeah.
multiple apps. In the XM Cloud, manage environments. If I go to my any dev environment for this particular site, in the details section, you will have this playground,
Hmm.
launch ID, and it will load the GraphQL playground. And let's say you want to directly fetch your query, then
Hmm.
uh, there is a generate delivery API token. This
Hmm.
is the token that I need to generate, and a URL I have in the notepad. 1 minute. This is the URL from where Sitecore fetches all the data: hplatform.sitecore.io, and here you can update with your context ID. I'll show one more thing so that this becomes even more clear.
Hmm.
Here you could see, right, the logs were coming up, right, the edge URL.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the URL from which Sitecore gets all the data. So whenever you publish your item to the edge, experience edge, and you will pass this context ID and the client ID, you will be able to get all your data. So you need to have that context ID set up.
Yeah, one question actually. So when you created the
Yeah,
multiple projects you've shown, right? So this particular HURL context ID and client context will differ for other projects as well. Will this be applicable only for this or?
yeah. So this is going to remain same for the environment. Let me
Okay.
go back. Where is this? Yeah. Okay. If you see, this context ID is going to remain same for the environment.
Okay.
Only it is going to change for the site name. For
Hmm.
site name, you see this parameter gets updated. Now if I go to, this is for the dev
Hmm.
environment preview. Now if I go to live, this is going to change. You can see it is now starting with 3W, the
Hmm.
context ID. If I go to my preview environment, it is starting with 23.
Okay. And
Okay.
one more thing as well. Sorry to interrupt. So we have the API key concept in Sitecore Next.js. I'm currently working on the Sitecore Next.js, but here we don't have a concept called the API key, but it will differ the keys by using these context ID and all. So this is how, okay, I understand. So my understanding is correct or?
Yeah, so there are two ways to look about it.
Mm-hmm.
When you are using it in the project, right? In
Mm-hmm.
our Next.js project, in the JSS one, we had the API key and we were able to fetch all the data. But out of the box, whatever Sitecore is giving us this Content SDK project, right? Here we are using the context of using the concept of context ID and the client ID. Okay.
Got it.
Now, if you go to your playground URL, the one that I showed, there the API key concept is getting used.
Understand.
So
Yes.
there I'm using this SC API if you see, right? But if I want to use the edge.io, then I have to use the context ID.
Still, for fetching the layout composition, we are using the API key only. So this one, this context ID maybe will for the sites configurations. Yeah. Okay, got it. Thank you, Shreyansh.
Yeah.
Any more questions, guys? I think okay. I think we don't have any questions from other people. Yeah, it was a very nice session. Both Nikita and Shreyansh. So it's a very insightful session about Content SDK. So even I was eagerly waiting for this session. So it provided very good insights. Yeah. So I hope okay the other people also enjoy this. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. And so still, yeah, guys. Okay, if you have any doubts about this, Shreyansh and Nikita, they are also available in LinkedIn, and you can reach out to them. And I will also share the recordings in next week. So once I post it in the YouTube channel. Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the insightful session. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, John.